Do you want to know how to spend 4 perfect days in the capital of Norway, all while on a budget? Well, here's your unforgettable 4-day itinerary. Day 1. Begin your Oslo adventure at the city's most striking modern landmark, the Oslo Opera House. Arriving here first thing in the morning not only allows you to beat the crowds, but also gives you a chance to see the beautiful city of Oslo waking up. Located on the Bjørvika waterfront and only about a 10-minute walk away from the central station, this attraction's free to explore. At first glance, the Opera House looks like it's rising straight out of the water. Its white marble roof slopes down into the fjord, designed to resemble an iceberg floating along the shoreline. What makes this truly special is that you can walk right onto the roof, which is a wide, gently sloping surface that gives you panoramic views of the city, harbor, and surrounding hills. If you're lucky enough to visit on a clear morning, then the sun reflecting off the white marble creates a beautiful orange glow which lights up the building in a unique way. By this time, I guess that you're getting a little hungry, so I know the perfect spot for a light breakfast. Take a short walk back to the city center and stop at Café Brennerit, which is Oslo's most beloved coffee chain. The atmosphere here is warm and modern, with locals grabbing their morning brew before work. Grab one of their cinnamon buns, or as the locals call it, kanelsnør, and pair this with a black coffee for about $8. Did you know that Norwegians drink more coffee per person than almost anyone in the world? So get caffeinated. From here, we're heading out to the Big Peninsula, which is home to one of Oslo's most famous museums, the Fram Museum. From the city center, you can take tram 30 toward Big for about 30 minutes. Now, this will cost you $4. Now, I know it sounds pricey, but don't worry. Just stick around to the end to find out how you can have unlimited travel for your 4-day visit for only $33. Now, once you've arrived, you're going to be greeted with the polar ship Fram, which is the strongest wooden ship ever built. It sailed further north and south than any other ship in history. The gangways allow you to climb on board and step onto its creaky wooden deck, peek into narrow cabins, and picture yourself trapped in Arctic ice for months at a time. The museum uses sound effects like whistling winds and cracking ice to give you that true Arctic experience. Tickets to enter the museum are priced at $18, and it's advised to spend about 90 minutes here inside exploring. I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to buy some tickets. But don't worry though, if you feel like this is too pricey for your first day of spending and you want to settle for a free alternative. If that's the case, then the open-air grounds of the Norsk Folk Museum is located nearby and well worth the visit. For lunch on day 1, we're going to head into the city via the tram 30 again, and toward a restaurant that has over 100 years worth of history. It's called Lorry. Now inside, it feels like stepping into a piece of Oslo's past, with wood-paneled walls, quirky artwork, and shelves filled with old memorabilia. The menu gives us our first chance to indulge in some classic Norwegian comfort food. Try a dish that the locals call kjøttkaker, which is Norwegian meatballs with potatoes, peas, and it's covered in gravy. Sounds tasty. Now you can also expect to pay about $17 for a lunch dish with a drink. Now after lunch, it's a 23-minute walk to one of Oslo's most unique landmarks, Vigeland Park. It's the world's largest sculpture park created by a single artist. Entry into here is free of charge, and it should take you about 2 hours to explore all that it has to offer. Here, over 200 sculptures by Gustav Vigeland capture the full spectrum of human life: joy, struggle, family, and love. The park's centerpiece is in the monolith, which is a 14-meter granite column of 121 intertwined human figures, symbolizing humanity's eternal cycle. Arriving here mid-afternoon is perfect, as there tends to be less crowds, which give you the opportunity to take good photos or sit back and just relax, either on a bench or even on the grass. This place is not only filled with tourists, but it's also a daily part of life for the locals. For our evening meal, we're heading back down to the waterfront where we started our day. The venue for tonight's meal is Dogville Burger. After a day of history and art, sometimes what you need is just a simple, satisfying burger and an ice cold beer. This is where locals unwind, and you're going to feel right at home here. Inside, you'll find a modern and cozy spot that specializes in gourmet burgers made with Norwegian beef. This restaurant is budget-friendly, at least by Oslo standards, with a burger, fries, and a drink costing about $19. Try the cheddar and bacon burger, or even the house special with the lingonberry sauce, a little Nordic twist on a classic. Now to wrap up our first day, let's take a sunset stroll down Akershus, which is Oslo's lively waterfront promenade. The boardwalk is lined with restaurants and bars, but you don't need to spend anything to enjoy it. As the sun dips low, the water glows gold and boats sway in the harbor, and the air fills with the sound of street performers. This is the perfect spot to reflect on an unforgettable first day in Oslo. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to see how you can explore more cities from around the world. Now let's go to day 2. Start your second day with a visit to Vigeland, which is a retro-style coffee shop that feels like stepping back into the 1960s. Located near to the city center, this cafe offers coffee and a pastry for $9. Not only is this a coffee shop, but it doubles also as a vintage design showroom with everything from furniture to the lamps. It's all mid-century Scandinavian. Now, during the day, it's a coffee shop, but at nighttime, it transforms into a cocktail bar. It's really cool. Trust me, you're going to love it. Vigeland. Check it out. Now, from the city center, we're going to take Metro Line 1 toward Holmenkollen for about 40 minutes. The ride itself is quite beautiful. It winds gradually upward into the hills above Oslo. And once you reach the top, you'll find one of Oslo's most iconic landmarks in the Holmenkollen Ski Jump and Museum. Entries should cost you about $19, and you should aim to spend about 2 hours here. The ski jump has hosted competitions for over a century, with the current tower completed in 2010. It stands 60 meters high, and it offers breathtaking views over the city, the fjord, and forests. You can take an elevator to the top of the tower for panoramic shots. The museum traces back over 4,000 years of skiing history, and with Norway being so proud of its skiing heritage, it definitely is worth the visit. For a free alternative, check out the forested hiking trails around Frognerseteren, which is just one metro stop further up. The trails are free, peaceful, hard to pronounce, and lead to panoramic viewpoints over Oslo. Now for lunch, we're heading back down into the city for a stop at Kaffestova, which is a traditional Norwegian cafeteria-style restaurant. Here, long communal tables and simple wooden decor set the scene for home-style Norwegian foods. This is one of the best places to try local dishes at a reasonable price. A recommended dish would be the rommegrot. Now, this is a traditional sour cream porridge topped with butter, cinnamon, and sugar. Sounds interesting, right? Well, give it a try. You might like it. A meal and drink here will cost you about $16. After lunch, we're heading off to, well, MUNCH. It spells like munch, but no, we're not going to be eating more food. It's actually the name of a museum of a famous painter, Edvard Munch. Now, it's a 20-minute walk from the restaurant, and it's located back down on the waterfront, where the first attraction was. Tickets here are $15, and again, around 2 hours here are going to give you plenty of time to see all that it has to offer. The building itself is like an architectural statement. It's a glass tower leaning slightly forward, as if it almost bows toward the fjord. Inside, there are over 26,000 works by Edvard Munch, Norway's most famous artist. Some of his famous pieces that are hung inside that you may know of are The Scream, Madonna, and some self-portraits. An interesting fact is that Munch actually donated his entire collection to the city of Oslo in his will, ensuring that Norwegians will always be able to access his art. Now after, we're taking a nice stroll up toward where our second evening meal of the trip will be. Walking up through Grünerløkka gives you the opportunity to see a different side of Oslo. This area is lit softly during the evenings with bridges, waterfalls, and converted industrial buildings that are now turned into bars and galleries. Now, beers in this area can be a little expensive, running about $8, but it might be worth picking out a nice spot to return to after you've eaten. Now, the restaurant of choice tonight is Via Paradiso Grünerløkka. Now, here you're going to find an authentic Neapolitan pizzeria that serves up some of the best pizza in Oslo, all for a fairly reasonable price. Inside the restaurant, you've got a bustling, warm vibe with long tables, families, and groups of friends. For a pizza and a drink again, you can expect to pay about $18, which is a great price for a city that's known for being expensive. Now, this feels like the perfect treat without breaking the budget. After, either take a walk back down to a local bar spot that you picked out earlier, or just spend some time wandering the streets at night. Because Oslo's got a great atmosphere. You've got the sound of rushing water, the glow of street lamps, and the lively chatter spilling out of riverside bars. It's the perfect way to wrap up our second day of exploring. Now, before we dive into day 3, let's spend some time going over the best insider tips for Oslo. Now, the best way to travel around Oslo is their extensive public transportation network. It's all run by a system called Ruter. Now, this covers the metro, trams, buses, even ferries. By simply downloading the app, you can buy tickets instantly, and this also avoids any onboard surcharges. A single ride will cost you $4.40, and this is valid for 60 minutes of travel across any of the different modes of transport. You can also purchase a 24-hour day pass, which allows unlimited rides. But the best value for money, in my opinion, is the 7-day pass for $33.50. Even though we're only here for 4 days, this is still the most cost-efficient option. Renting one of the city bikes from one of the many dock-based locations in the city is a great option too. A daily pass for these is $5, and you can also use unlimited 60-minute rides. There are plenty of cycle lanes around the city for you to ride your bike at your own pace and just enjoy the views. As always, though, the best way to explore the city is just by walking. A lot of museums are all within a 20-minute walk of each other, so this allows you to stroll around downtown and sightsee as you go. Oslo Airport, also known as OSL Gardermoen, is located about 50 kilometers north of the city. Now, there are a few different transport options available to you when traveling into the capital. Starting off with the cheapest option is the VY Regional train. Travel time here is about 25 minutes, and it'll cost you $12.50 for a one-way ticket. They depart 3 times per hour, and you can purchase tickets either via the app, ticket machines, or the Router app. Now, catching the VY train from the L1 line is another cost-effective way, as this also allows you to activate your 7-day pass immediately, but the travel time is close to double the time, coming in at about 40 minutes. One transport method to certainly avoid, though, are taxis, because those can rack up a bill close to $100. Ugh, not very budget. Now, when deciding on the best time to visit on a budget, you really only have 2 options, either April or May to September through maybe October. This is due to there being less crowds during these times of years, meaning that you'll be able to find cheaper flights and better hotel deals. Now, some of these deals can land you hotel rates at like a 30% discount. There's also still enough daylight in these months to be able to experience all that Oslo has to offer. The winter months can also be cheap, with hotels being quite cheap during this time, but it's worth to bear in mind that there can be as little as 6 hours of daylight during this time, which is why I personally don't think it's the best value for money all around. Now, staying near the city center is best for first-time travelers, as you'll be right in the action. Now, looking for hotels in the Centrum region will allow you to save on transport, as most attractions are within a walkable distance. Hotels such as Citybox Oslo offer rooms for about $90 a night, or there are hostels like the K7 Hotel, which offer dorms for $50 per night. A great tip is to explore apartments or websites like Airbnb, as you might be able to pick up a small apartment for 4 nights at a better price. Plus, this will allow you to cook breakfast or dinner in the apartment, which can save you some money. Let's talk about day 3. Start your third day at Godtbrod, specifically the one located at Grünerløkka, which is 10 minutes from the city center. This is a beloved organic bakery chain known for its wholesome breads and pastries. The atmosphere inside is bright and casual, filled with locals grabbing breakfast before work. The breads are baked fresh with organic flour, and everything feels warm, rustic, and distinctly Norwegian. Try a spelt bun with cheese or a fresh cinnamon roll paired with a cappuccino for about $9. Sitting here with the smell of fresh bread and the morning light streaming through the window is the perfect way to start the day before heading out to explore the fjords. From here, it's down to the docks for a classic boat ride across the Oslo Fjord. Now, this is going to be about a 2-hour sightseeing cruise on the Aker Brygge. Departing at about 9:30 a.m., this will cost you $34, which, again, I know sounds a little pricey, but believe me, it's well worth it. The Oslo Fjord is the soul of the city. Its calm waters cut between forested peninsulas and small islands dotted with wooden cottages. At the boats depart, you'll see Oslo's skyline shrink behind you. The leaning glass tower of the MUNCH Museum, the sloping white marble of the Opera House, and the outlines of Akershus Fortress guarding the harbor. It's amazing. The city feels both big and small when viewed from the water. Now, as you glide further into the fjord, the atmosphere is going to change. Seabirds wheel overhead, sailboats crisscross the water, and fishermen tend their nets. The islands, many with no cars, are weekend getaways for locals. Some are so small that they just hold a single cottage with a private jetty. This ferry trip really does offer you the chance to see a different side of Oslo life. Don't worry though, I've got a cheaper alternative for you if this is a little bit out of your budget range. Now, instead of the sightseeing cruise, you can just take a local public ferry, which is included in your 7-day pass to Hovjedoya Island. Once you've arrived here, you'll be greeted with the ruins of a 12th century Cistercian monastery. Sandy beaches with clear water in summer and forested trails filled with wildflowers during spring is a great way to spend a morning hike. After returning to shore, make your way to Mathallen Food Hall, a bustling indoor food market which is located in the Vulcan district. Inside the hall is a lively atmosphere that's filled with stalls serving everything from Norwegian specialties to international street food. The smell of spices, grilling meat, and fresh bread drifts through the air. Locals on lunch breaks mix with tourists sampling Norwegian delicacies, making it a great vibe. A meal with a drink in here will cost you about $17, and if you want to feel like a proper local, then try either the gravlaks, which is a cured salmon dish, or brunost, which is a caramel-like cheese that's unique to Norway. These are both great options. For our afternoon attraction, take a short metro ride to the Akershus Fortress. This is located on the waterfront and is Oslo's medieval stronghold. Built in the late 1200s by King Håkon V, Akershus was never successfully taken in battle, even during Swedish sieges, which later led to become a prison. It was occupied by German forces, though, during World War II. The fortress sits on a hill with commanding views over the fjord, which are very impressive and offer the perfect opportunity to take a couple of photos. Massive stone walls, arched gates, and cobbled courtyards set the scene for what life was like back in the medieval times. You can wander freely through the grounds or pay to enter the interiors. To enter inside, it'll cost you $9, and some of the more notable attractions are the banquet halls with high vaulted ceilings, the royal mausoleum where Norwegian kings are buried, and even old dungeons which once held prisoners. For our evening meal tonight, we're going to go to the Punjab Tandoori. This is a hearty, budget-friendly meal at one of Oslo's most popular cheap-eat locations. The restaurant's simple, busy, and always buzzing. Tables are close together, the decor's plain, but the food is generous and flavorful. It's a favorite among students, backpackers, and budget-conscious locals. Grab a portion of their creamy butter chicken with the garlic naan and a drink for $14. Honestly, the prices here are great, and it may not look like much from the outside, but you're certainly going to leave full and satisfied. From here, spend the rest of the evening roaming around the streets of this truly remarkable city. At nighttime, there's so much to do and see. Maybe find another cozy little bar and sit back and relax, or grab a gelato and head down to the harbor to see the city lit up in the night sky before heading off back to your accommodation, ready for one final day of exploring the streets of Oslo. Now, on our fourth and final day, we're going to start off with a freshly brewed flat white and a croissant down at Kulturhuset Cafe. Now, this is a cultural hub in the city center that doubles as a cafe and a workspace, too. Inside, it's bright, modern, and filled with locals working on laptops or reading the newspaper. The walls are decorated with art, and the long communal tables make it feel more like a community living room than just a cafe. You can get fueled up for the day here for about $8. From here, it's a 22-minute walk to our first attraction of the day, the National Museum. This is Scandinavia's largest art museum, and it opened its doors in 2022. Entry inside is $20, and it's located back down on the waterfront. You should aim to spend about 2.5 hours here. The museum is vast, covering everything from medieval tapestries and Viking artifacts to contemporary design and international masterpieces. Some notable pieces are Edvard Munch's The Scream. Now, you're probably thinking, wait a minute, didn't you just talk about that at the Munch Museum? Well, yeah, there's one version housed here and another at Munch, which was where we visited on day 2. You also have the Viking Treasures collection, which showcases intricate jewelry and tools, along with plenty of rooms filled with different Scandinavian modern artifacts. It's best to arrive here early because crowds are going to quickly gather. Now, after you've explored the museum and the surrounding docks, it's time for lunch. Head back to the city for lunch at Illegal Burger, one of Oslo's trendiest burger joints. The vibe here is urban and edgy. You got graffiti on the walls, hip-hop playing in the background, and a mix of students and young professionals grabbing a quick meal. Grabbing their original Illegal Burger with cheddar and homemade pickles, plus fries and a drink, it's only going to run you $15. Early afternoon is going to see us catch the number 30 bus and head to the Bygdøy Peninsula. This is Oslo's peaceful getaway for both culture and nature. Once here, you've got two options on how you'd like to spend your afternoon. First, the free option is just to relax on Hook Beach. This is one of Oslo's most popular swimming beaches. In summer, locals will flock here to sunbathe, swim in the fjord, and enjoy picnics on the grass. Even outside of the summer months, it's a lovely walk along the shoreline, with views across the fjord. From here, you can capture Oslo's skyline in the distance, which makes it a perfect place to snap up some photos. The second option is a visit to the Kon-Tiki Museum. To enter inside, it'll cost you $11, and the museum houses the original Kon-Tiki raft, which was built by Norwegian explorer Thor Heyerdahl, who sailed across the Pacific in 1947 to prove that ancient people could cross oceans. The story inside is both adventurous and cinematic, and the raft itself looks both fragile and incredible. Now, on your last night in this magnificent city, enjoy some fresh Norwegian food at Fiskerit. Now, this is a hybrid fishmonger and casual restaurant located at Youngstorget Square. Norway is one of the world's top seafood exporters, so ending your trip with fresh fish feels like closing the circle on a perfect final meal in Oslo. The space inside is lively but informal, with chalkboard menus and seafood displayed on ice at the counter. It feels authentic and unpretentious, the kind of place where quality ingredients matter more than fancy presentation. A classic fish and chips with a drink will cost you about $19. For one final time, take a stroll around Oslo's historic streets, but specifically this time, Karl Johans Gate. This is the main street, and it stretches from the Royal Palace right down to the central station. By night, the street's lit with warm lights from cafes, shops, and bars. You're going to pass the Royal Palace, the National Theatre, and the Parliament Building, all glowing in the evening sky. It's the perfect way to end your trip surrounded by the heartbeat of the city, blending history, culture, and modern life in one final walk. If you enjoyed this itinerary walkthrough, be sure to click on screen right now as you can find out how to explore other cities like this from around the world.